All right, we're pleased to be joined at this time by the head basketball coach of the Peninsula Catholic Knights. They're 2-0 on the season. They opened up with a victory over Veritas not too long ago, and then just last night, as we record this on the 2nd of December, they got their second victory of the year at Norfolk Christian. A really entertaining ball game. They got up 15. Norfolk Christian made a bunch of threes, battle back, but the Knights showed their mettle at the end to get it done 68-65 over the Ambassadors. We say hello to Coach Trevor Dorsey, who I understand is a very proud Marshall Thundering Herd fan as well. How you doing, Coach?
I'm good, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, you got to be, before we get to the basketball, you got to be happy with your Thundering Herd and Tavante Beckett representing the 757 quite well, huh?
I'm absolutely thrilled so far. They're 7-0. You know, COVID has not allowed them to play the last 2 weeks, but hoping to get a game in this Saturday and keep that streak started. And Tavante's just been a monster all year long, so love watching that kid.
Yeah, I appreciate you hitting me up with the update of, because, you know, with college football and college basketball this year, and this might even apply to high school sports, you don't know sometimes what game's on, who's playing who, and you alerted me we had those three takeaways, the fumble recoveries in that big one they had early in the season. So let's talk about your basketball team here, and you're one of the few teams that has gotten underway, be it public or private. We know the challenges everyone's dealing here through COVID-19. Tell me about kind of the procedures you all have gone through to play, and how nerve-wracking has it been every day? You know, are you going to play, not going to play?
Right. Well, our schedule literally changes on a day-to-day basis. I mean, I can give administration and staff at Peninsula Catholic a ton of credit, the amount of hours they've put in to make it possible for us to even not only play, but even to just practice and work out. They've been extraordinary. The thing that we do now, there's no fans, no parents. The benches are socially distant. The only folks allowed in the gym are the teams, the coaches, the officials, and then each team is allowed to bring a bookkeeper and a film person for the game. And I can't tell you, I mean, I'm sure you understand from watching the last couple. In an empty gym, the environment is just completely different. So, you know, we're trying to control what we can control and move on from there.
Yeah, I got to watch the second half of your game with Veritas on Facebook Live and the full game with Norfolk Christian on the NFHS network, which I think is a fantastic tool for everybody to see these games, since not only can people not come to them, you know, right now it's a situation where people all across the world can watch them, not just the ones that would want to come to the game. But for your kids, how would you kind of take me through the emotions? I mean, I think one of the things that gets lost in all this, those that are trying to figure out how to play, and we all want it done in the safest and healthiest way possible, is sort of the mental health aspect. Have you kind of had to be more of a psychological mental coach more than even a basketball coach these days?
Yeah, I mean, the conversations we have on a day-to-day basis, we try to keep it as normal as possible. I mean, you know, the first thing we always want our kids to do is concentrate on their academics, get that kind of thing done. Because as you know, that's a little bit different this year too. We've got a mix of kids that are in the building and a mix of kids that are virtually taking care of their classes, and that gives us a little bit of a different dynamic. And then, you know, like I said, with the schedule changing every day, we were supposed to play last Tuesday. Walsingham, day of the game comes, the James County numbers come out, they're too high. Walsingham wasn't comfortable with playing, and of course we're all about the kids' safety first, so we had to postpone that. You know, we've lost a few games here and there, but we've been able to, you know, luckily we play again tonight at Catholic, so we've been able to kind of piecemeal a schedule together, and it changes on a daily basis. But like I said, I mean, our big message to the guys are control what we can control the controllables, and worry about the things we do and the stuff out of our hands. We're going to let those other people make those decisions. We know they have the best interests of the kids in mind, so we can go from there.
Yeah, and I saw earlier this week the Catholic Cape Henry game had to be rescheduled due to, I guess, some situations there. And I know one of the schools in your league, I can't speak to which one exactly, is requiring their kids to not only wear masks in the building, but play the game in masks. For you, having to coach in a mask, and certainly I imagine you're going to do what you have to do that's the safest and best situation to have you guys play a game. But how tough has that been to have your kids be able to hear your communication with them, if you will?
Yeah, I'll be honest. You know, the mask is necessary, obviously, but it's been an adjustment not only for the kids, because when they're on the bench, they have to wear a mask at all times, and then coaching, we have the mask as well. And you know, I'm a very vocal guy, and sometimes I catch myself kind of drifting on that mask and pulling it down. It's definitely been an adjustment. It definitely you got to be locked in. You got to be able to pay attention. Now, I will say, in an empty gym, it's helped quite a bit because there's not the other outside noise
right.
that might normally be a distraction. And it's uncomfortable. We played Veritas, and they came in and played the game in a mask. I can't imagine. It's just tough for me to imagine do that. I know there's a couple teams in our conference that want to play that way, and that's fine. Each school is going to do what they think is best for their kids, and I'll stand by that.
Let's talk about your kids, because you've had a number of different players, Coach, step up, from whether it was the likes of Trevon Gray and Carlton Kennedy and Chris Brown in the first game to the game-winning 3 delivered by Styles Gardner, Jaden Curry, even a couple of other unsung players like Miles Teal and Malcolm Vollmer here in the last game as well. But it's really a balanced attack for you. And if teams are trying to prepare for you, they can't key in on just one guy to try to stop, can they?
Right. No, and then we finally gotten to the point in the program where we have that depth. I mean, I tell our guys all the time, it could be any one of you any night, because we have quite a bit of talent. I mean, last night Chris Brown did not play. We kind of shuffled the starting lineup a little bit, and Styles Gardner had a tremendous game. Not only the winning shot, the kid has 19 points, I think 8 assists and 5 steals. Trevon Gray, 18 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. We've got kids that they really work hard. We're getting much better at sharing the basketball, which leads to different guys, having opportunities to make plays. And I think, it's one of the big things from last year to this year. Last year, I thought we were selfish at times and maybe a little immature. Most of our team is back, and you can kind of tell that because we're comfortable with each other. The ball's moving more, our spacing is better, and really, we have several kids that can really play, and I think people are starting to see that.
Yeah, and you hit on the assist point. I mean, it was a number of times where both Gray and Gardner were sharing the ball with each other, which was great to see down the stretch. And even your opponent, Norfolk Christian, I think between the two of you guys combined for about 35 assists or so. So this was a well-played game, which you had to be pleased with in terms of the flow. Probably weren't pleased with blowing the 15-point lead, but the fact that you guys were sharing the ball and it was an entertaining, exciting type of game, even though there was nobody there to witness it in terms of fans.
It was exciting. Like you said, I wasn't particularly thrilled that when we had them down 15 in the first half, we weren't able to kind of pound the nail in the coffin and finish the deal. But that's part of the process. That's part of the growing process. I think sometimes our kids get comfortable, and when they get comfortable, the energy level, especially on the defensive end, drops. In Norfolk Christian, you got to give them credit. Eli Coley's a really good player. He made several tough plays, and they shared the ball as well. I mean, it wasn't. Like I said, it wasn't, I'm a fan of the game of basketball in general. I like to see the ball move, and several kids from each team made plays last night. I was proud of our guys for really hanging in there down the stretch and giving ourselves an opportunity to get the win.
Well, and the growth thing, I mean, a lot of times a team might not win that type of game when you have the lead and you lose it on the road. I mean, that certainly speaks to the maturity level. And then for Gardner there at the end to hit that big shot for Styles, he's got one of the best names in the area. Really clutch play.
Yeah, that kid, Styles loves the moment. He came up to me in the second quarter and said, "Coach, I'm struggling with my shot." And I said, "Well, I always want him to just keep shooting the ball." And he looked at me and he said, "Well, I'm going to make plays. I'm going to find other ways to make plays." And if you look down the stretch, I think he scored our last 7 points, 2 give and goes from Trey Gray, and he gets in the lane and scores. And then he hits the big shot at the end. And that's I think some people think of Styles as just a shooter, but the kid just makes plays. And that is part of our growth. And he's grown, because I think last year he kind of, 92 threes out of 208 attempts. I think that's 43%. And sometimes he kind of fell in love with staying behind that line. But this year he's added quite a bit to his game.
Absolutely, and to lead the game in assists and steals speaks to just that well-rounded play for him. Last two for you, Coach, and I appreciate the time talking here with Trevor Dorsey, head basketball coach of Peninsula Catholic, and this Zoomcast, if you will, here. For the team this year and for everybody, just across the board, Coach, if you look at the seniors, this 2021 class, how difficult is it now in terms of we hear the get them exposure, recruited for the next level? I've heard even from some college coaches that I've spoken to that they're like, well, if you're not a top ranked guy, your best bet is to prep or post grad. Give me how you've handled that and how you're going to tackle that, the recruiting process with your kids here in a year where you can't have college coaches get on these games. They have to watch it through, video cast, if you will.
Right. Well, luckily we had 2 guys that were originally 21 guys, Trevon Gray and Chris Brown, both reclassed to 2022, before the pandemic even became an issue, and that just, luckily for them, that worked out. We do have 321 guys in Jaden Curry, Miles Teal, and Carlton Canada, who luckily and we're blessed that they've all three gotten attention from the next level, and they're all three going to have an opportunity to play. And again, it's a tough one because parents are paying for private school. And when you talk about post-grad or you talk about prep school, that's another, there's no guarantees with either one of those. So, kind of what I try to tell my guys, you want to evaluate the whole situation. I think for our 2021 guys, they're all going to be locked in at either the Division III or NAIA level. And I think that's going to be a great fit for them. But if you talk about across the board, different kids and different families are going to have decisions to make. And it's just unfortunate. I hate this for the seniors this year. The 2021 kids, they're playing in empty gyms. Their families can't see them play. And the recruiting process, it does take a big hit for these kids. I know we're constantly sending out film, sending out our game links to coaches so they can tune in. Obviously, they're busy, but we do have things on replay that they can go back and watch. And we just found out this week that college coaches are able to attend the games if they register with the schools before the game starts.
Oh, I can really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's, last night we had an expectation of a couple guys showing up. Last minute things prevented them from doing that, but I think the TCIS is allowing college coaches to enter the game. They'll be temperature screened and checked for symptoms and, all those things, but I think that's going to be allowed going forward.
Sure. I want to preface this last one, Coach, with this is a very serious virus, and we all recognize that health and safety is of the highest, utmost importance here. I mean, I've gone to work daily going back to March at times, and I wonder about, my folks who stay with me and they're elderly. However, I want to, kind of bring it back to you guys have played 2 games here. So far, so good. Fingers crossed that will continue here. And I know you can't speak for everybody, but what would you tell others out there? We're seeing petitions out there for some of these counties that have already canceled school. We know about with sports, that is, I should say, sports with their schools. And across the board, it's a lot of people that are, let's just put it as truthfully as it is, frustrated about the situation. What would you tell them in terms of the advice and how this can be done? And I would think you believe it can be done safely in other places too.
Absolutely. I mean, I understand all the frustration. I know that in our, what I am familiar with, the steps taken by administration staff in all the schools in our league have been outstanding. I think for the most part, if you look at it in a controlled environment of the school with just the teams, the coaches, some teams want to wear masks. We're doing the absolutely best thing possible we can do to make it safe for these teams and these kids to play. And I would say, some parents may not feel comfortable with their kids playing, and that's okay. I would support that too. I think that really comes down to what you individually, what you think is best for your family, what you think is best for the kid. I know as a coach how important high school sports are to these kids, and not only, the physical activity, the competition, the mental health part. I mean, a lot of these kids, the basketball season, the winter sports season, is they look forward to this year round. And like you just talked about recruiting, let's be honest, some of these kids, if they don't get looks at the next level of basketball, it changes their life plans as far as how they're going to school, how they're going to pay for school, things like that. I'm obviously on the side of, I think we can play safely. I think we can continue to do what we're doing. But I'm also not going to jump on the other side and pound people down that don't think like I do. I understand both sides of the situation. Again, I kind of go back to that phrase, I control what we can control. We do the best job we can. If I have a parent or a child that comes up to me and says, hey, coach, we just don't feel comfortable, that's fine. I totally understand. I totally get it. And I think we all just need to understand both sides. And I think everybody, nobody's trying to punish anybody. I think everyone's doing the best job they can and making the best decisions they can based on the information that they have.
Well, kudos to you and your school and your squad for getting these games in, and the best wishes to you. Hey, I've been saying this is my customary line. A funky season is better than no season, and I think a lot of your kids and coaches probably feel the same way. Safe travels and best wishes to you, and a happy holidays, and hopefully better days ahead for all of us here as we go into the holiday season and into 2021.
Thank you, Matt. We really appreciate you and the job you do. Have a happy holiday to you and yours as well.
Thank you, Coach.
Take care.